Not sure if y'all noticed, but nearly all the places that I've been to have ended up on the news for exactly what I told you they were doing. You think this is just a coincidence? Y'all really want to continue treating me like I'm some retard? God damn. I tell y'all, sometimes it's tough to get information out of crazy people, ain't it? You gotta be able to sort through the bullshit. What's opinion and what's direct? Well, if a police officer tried to break your arm, that's very direct. Alright. Police here ain't any better than they are anywhere else. The sad part is, the police here aren't really any worse than anywhere else. Law enforcement nationwide is crooked. It's all dependent upon how much money you've got. If you got no money, you're not a person. Oh, cute. State patrol over there. Wonder if someone tried breaking into the building. It's a possibility. Alright. Looks like he's having fun too. He's got spotlights on. Alright. Looks like it's working. Let's see. Make sure we get the map thingy going. One moment. Take me to Tillamook Library.
Tillamook County Library. All right.
Well, that works.
Tillamook County Library may be closed by the time you arrive. Turn left on the US 101 South Main Avenue.
I know they were having some problems with thieves breaking into places around here. And they don't generally have a state patrolman stationed there. Matter of fact, first time I've ever seen a state patrolman stationed there. Yeah, I'm trying to make money tonight, though. I don't want my vehicle. Also, it's pulling a little bit right. It's a problem. Behind me is going past me, like they're getting up on me quick, and I'm going 34 to 35, 35. So if they're coming up on my backside, I'm going to go ahead and get over the right lane and let it land. Officer, down and next. Cute. problem we got here in the United States is a severe lack of decent people. We got a lot of nice people, but nice ain't the same thing as good. And we can't rightly consider a used car salesman good nor even decent. A used car salesman is out to make a profit, and that's what's important.
Take the next left. Third Street, then turn left onto Ivy Avenue.
Right now, we're having to deal with a lot of really, really, really bad people. And the fact that we've got a lot of different agencies that allow people a position of power and access to easy victims. Being as we're in the United States, it's popular. It's a capitalist nation. There's a lot of nations out there that
Take the next right onto Fifth Street, then turn right onto Grove Avenue.
decry the evils of capitalism. And we say that these people hate democracy. Well, they've got democracy in a lot of these countries.
In 500 feet, turn left onto 7th Street.
You can have both democracy and communism, by the way. You can have both democracy and socialism as well. Strange how it works.
Take the next left
Things
onto
that you
8th
might
Street,
consider
then turn left
conflicting
onto Ivy Avenue.
political ideologies are capable of functioning together
Take
one
the
and the
next
same.
left onto Ivy Avenue, then turn left onto 7th Street.
Take, for example, right now we've got democracy as well as capitalism. Capitalism is for love of money.
Take the next right onto Main Avenue, then turn right onto 9th Street.
And for the love of money is the root of all evil, right? Isn't that what we're told?
Take the next right onto 9th Street, then turn right onto Tillamook.
Then we get into arguments over who used the right word. Democratic Party really democratic? Is the Republican Party really Republican? Or Republican? Yeah, not so much. When it all comes down to it, it's again conflicting political ideologies. But nowadays we get to see that they're on the same side. They just keep everything in a stalemate. The American people just wait for their turn. Look how long Americans fought to get marijuana
Head north
legal.
on Pacific Avenue toward 11th Street.
And look how many Americans smoke marijuana, and look how many Americans just straight up don't give a shit. A lot of Americans don't give a shit. Alright, now we relocated here. There's a lot of cop action out tonight. Ugh. When I was parked over at the library, I noticed they pulled over at least 2, possibly 3 vehicles. All just passing the library. Then, of course, on my way to the, what do you call it? The Tillamook Sporting Goods, there was 2 more pulled over. One of them as I was passing, and one of them immediately after. All right. Well, I'll chill in this parking lot for a little bit, and I got to relocate. Not really interested in hanging out here all night. A lot of these officers, when they commit felonies, what they'll do is have another agency come and harass you for them. course, a lot of these agencies, you know they're working together. You get to see in the news that they're working together. You get to see on my YouTube videos they're working together. So you can't really go to one department or another. They work too closely together. When one of them does wrong, who's going to stop them? Who's going to correct their behavior? Who's going to tell them that it's wrong? There's absolutely nothing good about the police at all. Now, if you're a pretty white girl or you're a rich asshole, yeah, the police will do something for you. Hell, they'll fucking commit goddamn felonies for you. But for the average Joe, no, we don't fucking matter. Whether or not people treat you like a person, whether they treat you like a liar or someone who's honest, generally depends on how you look. Do you look perfect enough to be a victim? Yes or no? Are you the perfect height, the perfect weight, the perfect color of eyes, the perfect color of hair, perfect color of skin? See, Americans tend to like their victims to be perfect. If you're not perfect, you can't possibly be a victim. And that's where a lot of people ended up getting confused with Natalie. I'm not perfect, neither is she. But I got blamed for the things that she did. Got blamed for the things that her sister did. Got blamed for the things that Maddie Boa did. Got blamed for the things that her father did. Got blamed for the things that Tim Beeson did. Got blamed for those things and have taken a lot of abuse because of it. And yet, I still have to continue to take it because there's no officer in America who is a good person. Not one. I've been searching. I've been hoping, but there are none. Because of that, I have to do desperate things to try to get heard. I never wanted to come to Facebook or YouTube about my problems. I just didn't have any real friends I could go to. When it comes to turning in bad cops, that's only a start. See, once these officers realize that there are gonna be consequences for their actions, that they're gonna go to prison for these things, that'll make them think twice. Now, they got a special ward in prison for police officers, the alpha units. Does that mean it's an alpha male who's going to go out and fuck somebody up? No, it's quite the opposite. The alpha unit is for sex offenders, primarily. How do you become an alpha unit member if you're not a child molester? Well, be a member of law enforcement who commits murder, commits rape, commits child molestation or child pornography. Maybe you beat your wife, or you decided it was okay to smack a black man in the head with your billy club, and you got busted on camera.
Turn left onto Fifth Street.
Child molesters and bad cops do get special
Take
treatment
the
in
next
prison.
left onto Laurel Avenue, then turn left onto Fifth Street.
They don't get it worse, they get it better than other inmates. A lot of these guys will tell you that they
Take the
killed a
next left
pedophile
onto
in
Fifth Street.
prison. they killed a pedophile in prison, then it means they were on an alpha unit. If they were on an alpha unit, then it means that either they're a bad cop or they're a pedophile themselves. Now, is there an exception to that rule? Yes, there is.
Take the next left onto 4th Street.
When you're on a behavioral health unit, that's what they call it, behavioral health. Man, you get locked up with murderers, you get locked up with rapists, you get locked up with child molesters.
Take the next right.
You get locked up with people who are
Right onto 5th Street.
in there for fucking tax evasion. People who couldn't do their taxes, even though they had lots of money, they couldn't do their taxes because they was overwhelmed. So you lock them up for being overwhelmed. Goddamn, Americans are smart, ain't they?
1,000 feet. Turn right onto Stillwell Avenue.
The United States government and its people prey on the most at risk of our society. I'll speak up till the day I die.
Take the next right onto 6th Street, then turn right onto Pacific Avenue.
Anyway, we're gonna hope that state patrolman's alright. Whatever bullshit he had going on is concluded shortly. Hopefully he's not down there to be a douchebag to somebody for telling on the cops. There's quite a few now. Fuck the police. Ain't no such thing as a good one. A lot of y'all have told me that you know a good cop, but you haven't shown me a good cop. You just tell me about this magical creature. Might as well be a unicorn. Might as well be a goddamn dragon for shit's sake. Yeah, I get that you want to think of your favorite uncle as a good cop or a good man because he's your uncle and he comes over and he has fun with you. But your uncle, same as any other cop, is not above abusing the living hell out of a homeless person for sleeping on a park bench. Even your uncle is not above arresting a homeless man, taking him into booking, taking his jacket, taking his backpack, taking all of his life-saving gear, and then dumping him out on the streets as a book and release. Without his jacket, without his blanket, without his backpack, without his life-saving gear. About 12% of the population are black. About 12% of the population are disabled. 0.18% of the population are homeless. Black people account for 24 to 26% of those incarcerated nationwide now. The disabled actually hold a similar number. But the largest cross-section of the incarcerated, well, they were homeless when they were incarcerated. 81% of all incarcerated peoples were homeless when arrested. 86% of those currently incarcerated were in the system growing up. Holy shit, that's a large number. So technically, growing up locked up, whether it be a foster home, even just temporarily, or juvenile hall, behavioral health units, group homes, halfway houses, you are at the highest risk in the United States. The only way to get higher risk than that is to be a male. 96% of those killed by police, almost 97%, are men. 61% of those killed by police last year were homeless. That's up from 49% in 2019. 24% of those killed by police last year were, 24% of those killed by police last year were black. That's up from 22% in 2019. The disabled accounted for 51% of those killed by police in 2019. Last year, they also accounted for 51% of those killed by police. So where was the most significant increase? The homeless. They went from 49% of those killed by police in 2019 to 61%. That is not insignificant. And police do this nationwide because they know they can get away with it. They know if we had a real friend, anyone who actually gave a shit about us, we wouldn't be homeless. They know many of us come from broken homes, and that those who have been lucky enough to have a decent life, well, they tend to tell us dismissive things like, our family doesn't matter after we turn 18. No, they absolutely do. They absolutely do. There are certain things that you need right when you turn 18, right when you get out of high school, that you need to have. You might get away with having a year off, a year of leeway. You might. But every day after you turn 18, that you're not paying rent somewhere or financing a house, it's damaging your credit and your ability to borrow money. And here in the United States, if you cannot borrow money and you're not able to get a job that's going to pay you a decent quantity, there is no nest egg. You bust your ass for 2 to 5 years, really fucking hardcore, and one little thing goes wrong in that amount of time, and you literally lose everything. When the difference between you losing literally thousands of dollars and thousands of hours worth of effort, when it comes down to $50 to pay the rent, or to be able to pay the remainder of the rent, or you have to start over all over again. Do you have a friend or family that's going to help you? Or are they going to wait for you to lose the place, and then it affects your credit? It's also going to cost you a lot more to get into another place. If you're being victimized, are they going to tell you, well, all about themselves and tell you a bunch of bullshit stories? Probably. If you're homeless, people will literally make any excuse while you don't actually matter. They'll tell you that you matter and then make excuses immediately over the top of anything that you're saying. What kind of friends are they really if they're like that? Are those real friends? And then, of course, you say, oh, well, you need to get better friends. Yeah, like it's that easy. It might be that easy for you. And if that's the case, well, congratulations. But that doesn't mean that everyone gets your pampered life. Between the local police, the local sheriff's department, and the state patrol, all of them have broken the law. There is no law enforcement agency in Tillamook that I can go to safely. Also, because of that, there's no mental health place that I can go to safely. There's no hospital that I can go to safely. Not without a friend or family member who cares. And that's a problem through all of this. Before Natalie was killed, I did my best to steer clear of police officers for a reason. They ain't nothing but trouble when you're broke. They know as well as you do that right or wrong in the United States courts is dependent upon if you have money and dependent on if you are able to do things for yourself. If you're not able to take care of yourself, the courts take full advantage of that. The police take full advantage of that. The jails take full advantage of that. Here in Tillamook, no matter how good I am to people, it doesn't stop them from being fucking crooks. You can't pay people enough money to be good people in this country. The people who are supposed to protect our rights don't. There's too much profit to be made in not doing so. There's too much profit to be made in running us around in circles over and over and over again. There's too much profit to be made in throwing us into the jails time and time again. Too much profit to be made off of the mentally ill tag. People seem to think they can shut me up, but they've done a horrible job so far. I still speak up every single day. I've also collected evidence of the fact that I've told the truth all along. Now, there are times when my words didn't come together right, and police prey on this nationwide. Their tactics don't work on hardened criminals. They work on people with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. All they have to do is ignore everything that they're told, ignore all of the part of their training in how to de-escalate a situation, how to listen to a victim, and how to do the right thing according to the law. Instead, they manipulate it to their own selfish gains and own selfish ends. For an officer to make a mistake, that's not a felony. For an officer to hide their mistake becomes a felony when they choose to do it to an at-risk adult. That means somebody who's elderly or someone who's disabled. States right now. I've lived here my whole life. In my whole life, I've gotten to see who it is that gets kicked around like a dog. The homeless, the disabled, and men, in that order. Yes, women get special leeway. And yes, there are 15 services in Boulder for women. Just for women. For every single co-ed service that's in Boulder. That's right, a 15-to-1 ratio. But you could ask just about every homeless woman out here. Who's more important to our society? A man in a house or a woman on the streets? It's like once she hits the streets, she's no longer a woman. The groups that are supportive of women are only partially supportive when you're on the streets. Well, they'll cancel your appointment because there's a meth addict who's trying to keep her kids and keep her free housing. They'll siphon the payments off of your visits, your therapeutic visits that they'll have you coming back to every week. Every single week if they can get away with it. They're not going to take time beyond the 50 minutes that you get in an appointment. Doing a mandated reporter's job for you, well, it's optional at that point. Because you're not considered a human being by the United States government or its people. As a result, you have none of those rights of a protected individual, such as an American citizen, or a disabled person, or a woman. Here in the United States, our biggest enemy is the police. You get to hear recording after recording after recording to all these places that the police sent me to because they didn't want to do their fucking jobs. Literally every single one of them telling me that it's not their job. I go to their websites, and the things that they're claiming are not their jobs are exactly what they're advertising as their primary job. We get to hear the Oregon State Troopers saying the same thing as the Nebraska State Troopers. It's not their job to police the police. But then we get to see every single one of these situations that it's the state police who do the investigating. That's the problem with you making the call alone, is that they're going to lie to you. They're going to have this little recording pretending that they care, or saying that the call is recorded. And you notice I record it, and when I state that I'm recording it, they don't like me very much. I've showed how bad the cops are here, and how it doesn't matter how good a person I am. Doesn't matter how much I go out of my way to protect people in my immediate vicinity. What matters is that I told on cops that didn't want to do their fucking jobs for a disabled person. What matters is that I told on bad cops who did not want to do their jobs as mandated reporters, and neither did any of the places that they wanted to send me to. You're damn right I speak out. You're damn right I speak up. There's a lot of people who are angry with me because I told the truth about them. And they're allowed to be angry about that. They can be angry about whatever the hell they want. That don't confront me none. If people want to be angry because they got busted lying, that's not on me, that's on them. If somebody wants to bully me until my words don't come together correctly, and then they want to pretend I'm a liar as a result of it, well, they don't get to make mistakes either then. You notice people don't like being treated with equality. You notice that the police will gang up on an innocent person for trying to tell on a police officer. You notice I don't just speak the words. I back my shit up. I show actual evidence, and I show it here because the police will not do a goddamn thing to help. They will not fucking lift a goddamn finger to investigate a single fucking crime committed against me. And why would they? I don't matter. I have no money. I'm not a person to your society. I do have the right to sleep. Not that anyone's going to allow me that right. Somebody has to speak up, even if it's only me. I get that my name has been completely destroyed on the internet and in real life. Not sure if you noticed this, but I didn't create my channel for likes. Not sure if you noticed this. I rarely get more than 1 or 2 likes on a video. Rarely. Not sure if you noticed this, but I still speak up every single day. Anyway, I should probably keep this recording 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Because you never know when some crooked cop is going to come up and fucking bullshit. And because you're not able to record the beginning of it, or because he's able to shoot you in the head before you're able to start the recording, it gets to be his word versus yours. Meanwhile, cops here in Tillamook, Oregon, have a history of murder. Their Klan accomplishments are well documented. Same with Portland, Oregon. Matter of fact, Portland, Oregon is one of the few places where they still have KKK rallies. And gross. Alright, so I'm getting everything set up and prepared. Try to get a few hours of sleep. It'll probably only be a few minutes of sleep up in this neck of the woods. There's a lot more tweakers. They're out in much greater abundance. Out in the Fred Meyers area and the Tillamook Sporting Goods area, there's quite a bit of distance between town and there. And most tweakers don't want to make it that distance. It leaves them too open and too exposed. Alright. Looks like I got most of the stuff I need. I don't have enough for coffee in the morning, but I do have enough to pay my fine. Not sure if you notice what a ginormous goddamn asshole I am. But it's one of my saving graces. When people decided they were gonna fuck with me, yeah, it pissed me off. When they started threatening to kill my friends and family, well, that's when Natalie Bollinger resulted in, well, more than she could chew. She didn't stop to think about the consequences of her actions for others. What she cared about was, in that moment, not being embarrassed. No matter who had to pay the price. And that's what we've taught every woman in America. Thank goodness there are women in this country who refuse to be like that. But even those women are aware that they could. They're aware that in a pinch, they can rely on the same exact bullshit as the predators pulled on them. We've shown recently that women are actually more likely in a position of power to abuse that power. Look at how many female teachers that we have right now getting locked up for having sex with students. It's an 11-to-1 ratio right now. 11 female teachers arrested for having sex with a student for every one male teacher arrested for having sex with a student. Meanwhile, we've got officers like Lothman and officers like Reeves here in Tillamook that show why there's no such thing as a good cop. Because when a bad cop does something bad, all the cops on his department are on his side. And those are the pieces of shit that you're sent to turn the son of a bitch in. God bless America, right? And then there's these soldiers wanting to tell us how we shouldn't be allowed to vote. Only soldiers should be allowed to vote. Because only soldiers are fighting for our freedom. Meanwhile, we get to see that it's the homeless, just by their existence, they're fighting for our freedom. Just by their existence. Now, I've been posting stuff up on the Tillamook Sheriff's Department site. Why have I been posting it up there? Because of the tools that I have at my disposal. I'm limited in my abilities and capacity. By these police officers not doing their job when they were first informed of the situation. By pawning me off on mental health instead of doing their jobs as police officers. They forced me to spend literally tens of thousands of dollars in the last 7 years with no gain. Because all of this is dependent upon law enforcement to do their fucking jobs.